Um, when first contact comes, uh, by that I mean when the ETs show up on Earth very publicly, do you think the Pleiadians will be among the first?
Yes, because we are one of the best understood,
Mm-hmm.
and we understand humans probably better than other cultures, let us say, out here.
Mm-hmm.
We go in and out of places like Mount Shasta and Giza and many sacred sites. You just don't necessarily know that we're doing it. I mean, you know that we do it at Mount Shasta because it's been on record, but um, there's lots of things that are happening on Earth now that we are doing that are not visibly seen by you. And it is again because your senses are very limited, as is your third eye. All your senses are limited right now, and
Mm-hmm.
as your DNA gets um, as it regroups, then you will start to realize this, and your vision will change, your hearing will change, everything will change. Energetically, you will be changing. So you know, take note of that and know that it's not always just because we feel that you're not ready to see us. Yes, that is a large part of it, but it is also because your senses aren't able to see us.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I look forward to those days. We
They are
expand.
coming. They are coming
Good.
indeed.
That's what I keep hearing.
Patience, my friend.
Yes. Um, I've asked a lot of questions, and I think I have a lot of good information here. Is there something that you, as a Palladian, would feel that I haven't asked that you would like humanity to know about Palladians specifically?
We want to remind you that we have always been here. We were here before you were here, in physical form. I mean, in your physical form. We were energetically here. We were here as a race. We were here as the blue people because we took form more often back then because we weren't as evolved back then as we are now. We don't feel the need to be physical as much as we did back then. But as we said earlier in the session, it was better for us to be human back then or be in body, we should say, because it helped us to get things done. Because in your density back then, it was too difficult to energetically make the changes that we wish to make, and we weren't allowed to make as many as we can make now because we didn't have uh, um, the energies on the planet, and they weren't really human at the time, didn't have the capability of asking for our help because they didn't know that we were really available to help in the limited way that we could back then.
Mhm. As we
So,
count Earth years, when would that have been if you were here? Or how many years ago? I guess.
well, a few millennia before your recorded history.
Mhm. Before Atlantis?
Oh, yes. Atlantis is new compared to when we were here. Yes, absolutely.
So you're talking 50,000 years ago or more?
Oh, no, like millions. I mean,
Oh,
Earth has been around for a long time, not necessarily in its current form. Well, definitely not in its current form. Um, so it has been a growing rock, shall we say. And we don't mean that with disregard because it has been um, incredibly energetically viable for a very long time. And we first came here when it became so. but there were no human beings as such. There were amoebas, and I mean, dinosaurs are new for in our sense of looking at Earth's time.
Mm.
So it was a very, very long time ago.
I'd love to have an interview with Gaia one day and try that.
Well, Kate's the one for that one.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this will be a never-ending pursuit, I'm sure. Um, anything else you think would be helpful for humans to know at this point?
Well, we just want to say that we are delighted that more and more of you are asking for our help, because the more you ask, the more we are able to give. Because we cannot just come in and start making changes. I mean, we told this one about a time a few years ago when, she and others might have been taken up to the ships if there was complete destruction, or more or less complete surface destruction of your cities and towns and environment on the earth. And that was something that we were able to do for the sake of the species. It was not something that you asked us to do. It was something that we, as you might say, had an override on, because the council said, this planet needs to prosper and it needs to ascend. And if you have to take the humans off it for a certain period of time, for it to regroup as Gaia before they go back on, then that's what you have to do. But that was not something that we ever took lightly, and we are delighted that the timeline has shifted so that does not need to happen.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, what we want to end with by saying is that our help is always here, and the more you ask, the more you can receive, and the more we are able to do to meld ourselves with your energy so that we can all move forward in this ascension process, because it really is beautiful. And we can't begin in words to describe how beautiful it's going to be. I mean, it already is. The ethers are already there for that existence to be. It's just a matter of the timeline now. It's already there. It would take something incredibly, incredibly massive for that to change now. So we want you to know that it is there. Energetically, it is already here. And it's just a matter of, you catching up, and the energy of your species and your animals and to some extent your trees, to catch up to where that energy is currently has currently formed itself. So we are always here. We, in love and light, we hopefully will continue to be able to help as much as you want us to help, and create something absolutely beautiful.
Well, I'm going to emphasize that where I can, and I hope that people do begin to realize they can ask. I guess back at the time when the planet was under threat and you were prepared to lift us off, and we didn't ask, we didn't know we could, or we would have. I'm pretty sure. So maybe, this little initiative will help some people to realize that they can ask.
Well, yes, it's like anything, a parent doesn't necessarily need to ask, or a child doesn't necessarily need to ask a parent how to be taught in certain things. That just comes with experience and with the parent raising the child. But there are things that the child is best to ask for their own future development. And so this is a similar situation, but and it is also very much like prayer. Your prayers aren't always answered the way you want them to be, because you want to be in control. But prayers are always answered. The asking is always solved, if you will, in some way, not necessarily the way you think should be. So keep that in mind when you're asking, and know that, you know, putting out there for your higher good is ultimately what you want to do for the higher good of the individual, you as an individual, and you as part of the collective and part of Gaia.
Mhm. Well, thank you very much for this today. And thank you for being the first to channel in my experience through Karen. And I just noted that this is something like the 99th session that we have had together.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is a lot, but I'm grateful for it. It's been a great ride and continues
Yes,
to be, and I look forward to much more. Thank you very much indeed. Many
you are
blessings.
very welcome, and we are always honored to come through, both of you, and give little bits of wisdom where we can. So thank you very much, and we will continue to be along for the ride. So with love and light, we leave you.
Love and light.
Well, that's it, folks. That interview became one of 20 such interviews that appeared in my most recent book. The book also contains a section on channeling and the specific steps that I take to assist individuals to become channelers. The final section contains what I consider to be the top 10 messages that the beings are telling humanity at this time. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the interview and that you found it helpful in advancing your spiritual growth.